tonight.
Town of Bridgewater Park and Recreation Committee meeting being called to order, 7:06. Good evening, everyone. In attendance, we got Dan Buron, Gina Gasconi,
Tom
Tom
Marigi.
Riggi, Jim Small, Mike Flaherty. I think that's everybody. Okay. And myself, Mark Thomas. Thank you, Jim. We need to approve the meeting minutes from last meeting. Allison provided with me. I read them over. Everything was accurate. If you guys want to read them over, you can, or we can vote to accept them.
Motion to accept minutes from last meeting.
Okay, I just want to read them first.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, before we really get started with the official business, I'd like to just maybe make a proposal and see what it is. Maybe we should start the meeting up with a moment of silence for our dear friend Brooke Conn in the past. So if anybody would join with me in
I think that's a good idea.
Moment of silence for Brooke. Thank you.
Figured, safe to say, obviously, you guys knew Brooke a lot better than I did, but a year plus I've been on, she was, even after she was done working, she was indispensable to us, so she will be
She always
missed.
protected us from making bad decisions and
From
getting
Charlie.
copies from the town managers.
She said she always had her backs.
No, she was amazing. I was fortunate enough to have for the rec board. I'm trying to remember how many years. I guess she was say 20. She was with us a lot. In the golf commission, she was
She
with
was
us.
on before I got here. So.
Yep. So at least 20 years. She just put it all together. She ran everything at that time too.
And she was a better person than she was administrative assistant. She was unbelievable.
She was great.
She was sweet.
Okay, thank you for that.
No, no problem. Good suggestion, Dan.
Just give me that.
Yeah, as Gina's looking that over, we'll jump to public comment. I don't see anybody on here from the general public, so if they tune in, we'll obviously gladly hear what they have to say, but skip over that right now. Let's Jim, bring everybody up to speed on a few things. Down at Legion, we've got a lot going on down there recently. All good stuff. The ball's starting to get rolling on some things with things that Jim's done here in town. Getting money from things from finance, and the Little League has put some money into, gotten some sponsors, some things. But Jim, should we start with the stairs? What we have going on with the stairs currently?
Yeah, sure. The stairs going from basically the cottage kind of handicap parking area there down to the Lazaro Field. It was an Eagle Scout project back in 2002. It's kind of needs some update. It's kind of a safety hazard. So I went to got some quotes for some work, and then I went to the building inspector. They wanted us to get something on paper. So I reached out to Larry Silva. They're going to just come shoot some grades. It's up in the air whether we're just going to do stairs or whether we're going to do like a ramp. Larry Silva seems to think that the ramp is no problem. I guess we'll know as soon as his guys survey the area on Wednesday morning. I'm going to meet him there and just get a feel with them whether or not it's feasible. But either way, it'll just be a much needed improvement from what's there right now. So, and we did get the money approved in the capital. So,
Jimmy, would the ramp start from where the parking lot is?
it would start basically at the sidewalk.
Yeah, okay.
Kind of like right at the sidewalk going down.
Brick stairs.
Yeah, I'm just worried about some kids with skateboards or bikes start start making that into a ramp. That's just getting nervous about it. It's a ramp.
We had when I spoke with Jim, we had looked to just get the stairs stairs that were there,
Yep.
ripped out and replaced the same layout with concrete. But then when we got the building inspector involved, he kind of wanted it to be the handicap ramp. We do have a handicap ramp on the other side, but we do have 2 handicap spots on that side of the Cottage Street building. So I think that was his logic. When Silva comes back, because we have to make sure this, this works logistically to the field, because we have a drain down there too. So if we overshoot the drain, we've got some issues, but we're gonna see. He's supposed to be fast tracking it a little bit. Initially, we wanted this done for opening day,
Yeah.
which is the end of April. It might be close. The cost is supposed to be about the same, but we'll see. We'll see what it comes out with, and we'll have some discussions. We may have to have some quick on the fly discussions. Jim and I have been in touch on this right away, but once we get a finalized product, decision may have to be made before the next meeting and stuff, but we'll run it by you guys.
I went by the other day and I saw like the backhoe, so there's some caution tape up, but if,
Yep.
let's say weather's gonna be a big factor, obviously, too, trying to get this done before opening day. If you can't, well, is it something other than caution tape? Can we maybe
We
put a
can
snow fence?
Jim had a fence up there from last fall
Just
on,
to keep people.
and the fence was taken out. This fence is out now, right, Jim? The one you had blocking
Yep.
off everything? Yeah. So-
Well, the fence up top is in. We just
Yeah.
put that back, we work on it and then we put it back,
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
we're done
I-
working on it,
see
chain
that.
it up.
Jimmy, I was just thinking like opening day, there's a lot of people, we're gonna deter them from,
Yeah,
maybe even shut that parking lot off,
Yeah.
because there's no access.
yeah, he's,
When you have a busy, once the season starts, there's gonna be a lot of people there.
yeah, it's nothing kids could get
We can't have
over
somebody-
with that fence
Someone
anyway.
trip and roll an ankle or something,
Yeah.
because, and I know you, but I just thinking out loud here.
Yeah, no, it's a good point, but he has had that up there, and we'll, obviously make sure things are secure, for opening day. But that's, we're trying to get it done as quickly as possible. The concrete company that, we think we're gonna go with, they're on board. They're getting a little busy here in a couple of weeks, but they're keeping our project in mind.
Oh, so the ramp's gonna be a concrete ramp?
Yes, everything was
Wow.
concrete.
Wow.
This question, is it gonna be like, have to be like layered, or is it gonna be straight shot?
We're gonna see what Silva comes up with. It can't be a complete straight shot. You have to have flat spots at like every 12 feet anyway.
Say.
But you can only draw, my concern with it going straight is you can only draw, can't drop any more than 1/4 inch a foot. And you've got about 5 feet to make up for a street to the ground. So that's
Oh, it's
that's
gonna
quite
take
a,
it. It's
yeah.
gonna take it deep.
so,
So if you terrace or whatever, you have to put
Yeah.
railings and stuff?
yes, and we will have railings on it anyway, because to make it a proper handicap ramp, you have to have the double access on the handles anyway, so we'll, all that stuff's kept in mind, we're just trying to move it at a quick pace.
So it will be like a zigzag. ramp?
But we're gonna see what the engineer calls for, he's gonna keep it, ADA code and,
Okay. I was
Those
just-
dimensions you just mentioned, they'll take it almost to the fence.
yeah, it's,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
just, I didn't measure it out, but just based on my construction experience, just, eyeballing it, so
I
it,
want to go this way and then there, is that what you're thinking too? Here, then take a,
I think when you come off from Cottage Street,
yeah,
to the right, there's bleachers, and those bleachers aren't in a great spot anyway.
yeah.
In my opinion, I think we push those, put them in a better spot for viewing at Lazaro, and then
Maybe down past first base?
Yeah. and then we work,
You can go further,
yeah,
come back.
use that space up there, so we're still landing in about the same area, maybe out a little bit. Because literally, we're going to expand we're gonna make those dugouts on Lazaro come all the way to the scorer shed, so that you can pass from, the dugout to the scorer shed, you don't have to come out, go around all the way back.
Oh, I see.
So we don't wanna, we're trying to make it all work together all
Yeah,
at
and I
once.
was thinking if it's just straight, the skateboarders would
Yeah.
have a ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least if it curved, like
At least once,
heads the
at
bed.
least once, one of them's gonna have it once, and then, that one won't do it again. Just a lot of
Something to
work.
remind ourselves on, the agreement with, Graziano Concrete, dated back maybe 8 or 10 years ago. Every year, they're supposed to donate a certain amount of concrete to the recreation or to the town at no charge. So
I'm
keep that
meeting
in the
with,
back of your mind.
yeah, I'm meeting with Tom on Wednesday.
Oh, but he'll probably tell you that.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit him up for something. I'll touch on that in a minute too, because it involves some of what I need you for. But yes, we've got down there at the field, Jim's had somebody come in and build a couple new dugouts
I saw that.
down there. We had to replace the other ones, and
Good.
they're coming along nicely, matching what Charlie did on Hayes and Lazaro. And we're
What kind
looking,
of wood are they using? It looks pretty white. They're not using regular wood, right? They're using treated.
no, we're using, around the white is PVC trim around the outside.
Okay, Yep,
Around the perimeter. The rest, we're mimicking anything that's making ground contact, which is basically your posts
yep,
and your bench and whatnot. That's pressure treated,
okay.
but your rafters and like that, we're mimicking everything that Charlie did. And that's just KD, but it's not ground contact, so it's okay. It doesn't take a beating from the sun, but as I had noted in, when I first come on, I just walked around the parks and this and that. At some point, and Jim knows that, talked to him, we'll have to, treat or paint the underside of even the ones that Charlie built, just at some point, just to keep them, because anything we do, we don't want to have to do again in 5 years. We want to keep maintaining it and stuff. And we're getting, Jim's done a great job with that down there. Little League's done that. Little League put money into Hayes and Lazaro last year, those two fields, along with Jim, redoing the surface. And then this year, because I also sit on Little League board, we also voted to put routine maintenance money every year from the same landscape company back into those two fields. It's obviously not the same price, it's a lot less, only a couple $1,000, but it's money well spent to maintain. what we've done. Yeah,
Now, I saw the two new dugouts up, what I call the upper stone
that's Upper
dust.
Stone Dust, yep.
And lower stone dust is still the fence.
Lower Stone Dust doesn't have any.
Is there a plan
Seniors,
for that? Yeah.
Seniors Field, we're doing some work on Seniors Field, a lot of different areas, but the dugouts in that field are also getting replaced. Those are the
Oh.
old concrete ones, and they're water pits in there. So we need those replaced too. Those are supposed to be done for opening day. We ran into some butting heads and
Same style?
things, yep, with finance, but that is going to go through, just might be pushed back to Memorial Day. Lower Stone Dust, I personally haven't pushed too much on Douglas for that yet because they need it, but that's also part of some of the conversations and pricing I've been getting together, because I've discussed some things I want to see improved down at Legion Field. Potentially, if it's something we can get into a capital project where we're kind of redoing that field, expanding parking lot, maybe shifting the field a little bit. So I didn't want to put, I didn't want to recommend putting 2 new dugouts there right now, if possibly in a year or 2 years, we might be shifting the whole field,
Makes sense. I mean, it's been like that since.
Yeah,
since
I mean, we-
when first built that field,
yeah. It works, but parking has become, the program's growing, which is a
Right.
great problem to have, but parking is kind of a nightmare down there, so if we can somehow finagle some things with the capital budget, move some things, get more parking down there, it'd be great, if we're fortunate enough to use the Williams schools, we can, occasionally we can use the Vets Club depending on their function and stuff, and we just need better communication. I think the vets they're very cooperative and very helpful, but for years they just asked on days they have functions, nobody parked there, but there's just not enough understanding from the general public. People see a car at a spot, they park there, so it led to some problems with the Vets Club and stuff.
I'll say this goes back in Gina, you remember, maybe it's 20 years, maybe it's less, maybe it's 10. You got the Vets Club, and then there's
The
an
piece
empty.
to the side, I was just thinking of that.
I think that piece was gonna be our property. Okay, the Vets Club parking.
Yep.
and Looking at the Vets Club. and
Yep.
I'm Legion Field, right to the right, there's a
The
wooded
wood
area.
area,
Right there was,
That
who
was-
wanted to give it to us?
So was that Vets Club property?
Vets Club, I
It was
don't know, they
Vets Club,
donated it.
but there was talk that we were going to get it, or they were going to let us use it, I can't remember
Yeah,
specifics, but I was thinking the
If we
same.
cut all the
thought.
trees, if we took care of
Yeah,
it.
right opposite the little
Yeah,
parking lot.
that's right.
Yeah.
Well, that would be a huge, I didn't know that, that's huge. I'm gonna follow up on that and see what we can do, because that would be a huge help, because we end up lining Cottage Street with cars and out of necessity, but that would be fantastic if we come up with something and.
I'm trying to remember what we had for cars, I think they even.
Can't remember
Have
specifics.
you been dealing with Larry Silver? You know Larry?
I know who he is, I haven't
I
been
think
dealing with that too,
It
Jim.
goes back a long time.
Who's president of that still?
I think Kenny,
Kenny Jenkins?
Okay, really?
last I heard
I
it.
didn't see Kenny.
See, I'm young and I knew that, huh?
I know, I'm impressed, I'm impressed.
I might surprise you.
The young guy goes in the back.
Everybody
Well,
appreciates
that's
it.
good. I mean, Just riding by, you see a lot of changes, but what people don't understand too is like on a given day or night, say a Saturday, it used to be just 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 or 5 days. Now with all the T-ball and the other,
Yeah,
it's like 10 games going on, so it's 10 groups of
Big
kids.
difference.
yeah, and everybody
It's 10
wants,
sets, yeah.
and with kids, as we all know, coaching them, raising them, everything else, you wanna front load the beginning half of the day with the younger kids because you
Right.
lose them, after
Oh.
12 o'clock, so it's,
Absolutely.
you really, so we, as a league, things are pretty heavy down there, before noon, trying to get as many games in as possible, so it does back things up. So that's,
Yeah, let's talk, I definitely talk to Kenny then, if you know.
yeah,
I would definitely talk to him, say, and ask about it. Do you remember, Gina, that
I remember
we had a
talking
home
about
because
it.
way back, we were getting jammed up, with problems with, and we talked about, instead of using our parking lot, why don't we use, and I think we had to cut it. I think we had
Right.
to
It would-
cut
but
it,
that's,
level it.
but that's
Oh,
not,
that's something we can do.
even if they allow us to have it, if we maintain, that's something we'll look into, the town capital budgets, community preservation, wherever we can get, money for it, we'll,
Yeah, because it's probably, to do a
not-
true,
it's
park,
not
it's gonna be a little bit more
really
involved than just cutting trees.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure.
The wetland.
You know, Pullman, I don't know if there's wetlands. I think it's pretty high there, isn't
it
it?
should be wetlands.
No, I don't know, just what, you're gonna impact the runoff and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It could be a little bit more involved,
Yeah,
but
we'll,
that should be town property.
Well,
Yeah,
Well-
I can't remember if they were transferring it to us or we would just, they were going to keep it, but we were going to clear it.
Yep.
yeah, we'll look into it and see what we can do there. Jim, staying on, Legion real quick. One thing you and I had talked about months ago, but I finally got an answer from Little League to a degree. With the locks, you changed the lock, going to the snack shack on one of the doors.
Yep.
So it took me this many months to get some kind of answer from Little League, because I know you and I had talked about, potentially changing some locks and us picking up the tab. Is it possible to get the other side of the snack shack and the bathrooms on that same key?
Yeah, that's no problem.
And then they'll take care of, Little League will take care of whatever they're gonna do. I know in Hayes, they're gonna put a push button lock in, but you'll clearly have a master key to that. And then everything else, they're gonna leave the same. I was trying to make it a little
Okay.
simpler, but that's the avenue that they came up with. So if we can get that done on the same key, I can distribute those keys to everybody, because I have the stack that you gave me. We just gotta get it all,
Okay.
all squared away on that same lock. That'd be fantastic.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, this is kind of, all right, we're trying to keep it as short of a conversation as we can. Let's jump back up to pickleball real quick, and let me just bring everybody up to speed, and then we can chime in from there. We had our plan that we sent, our formal recommendation that we sent to the town manager's office, and that was allowing the Pickleball Association and their hours that they had wanted, which was a morning session and an afternoon session. Initially, town manager's office, in discussions with Jim, town was a little hesitant to give them both morning and afternoon, and took weekends off the table. So we went, Pickleball found out about that. They weren't very happy about it, and they just kind of wanted to blow the whole thing up, because we, instead of going 7 to 11 and then 4 to 8, they were given 7 to noon, and that was it. So Pickleball wasn't happy. They were going to blow it up. They were just going to walk away from the whole thing. Had some discussions with Jeff, the president. And that's, lots of things. And I'm a big fan of that sometimes too, especially it's almost like dealing with kids sometimes at some point. But I had a discussion with Jeff, and one of the things that he was pushing for and told me that, so they have, that pickleball group is geared towards 2 different groups of people, not the same group of people. See, initially I thought it was just everybody. So the morning sessions are more your retirees that are doing it then, and your after work group is people, those of us that, like Tom and I that work still, and they come after work and play after work. And I found that to be a pretty compelling argument. So I told them no matter what, weekends were 100% off the table. It wasn't going to happen. And they understood that. I spoke with Mike Dutton directly. I spoke to Jim previously, spoke to Mike Dutton, spoke to Jim again. and we got on the same page of giving them 7 to 11 in the morning, giving them 4 to 7, not 4 to 8 in the evening, and run with that. With the understanding that we're gonna, as a group, we're gonna look it over again in June and just see how things get started off and see what's going on there. I know Tom had told me initially when pickleball finally put out what they were doing, there was some backlash. I'm not on social media, but I heard there was a lot of backlash on social media.
From them?
Not from them, from just
Bridgewater-
just
No, Bridgewater
Residents.
residents, because the Bridgewater pickleball, there's a lot of out-of-towners in there. It isn't just Bridgewater, it's Bridgewater, all the surrounding
Yeah,
towns.
but I also don't think
They got big
the
numbers.
pickleballers that are residents aren't enough to, this group, I thought the understanding was we'll give them a chance to kind of
Yeah,
police it
and
for
that's-
ourselves.
yeah.
Go on Bridgewater pickleball.
Right, so we'll go,
Yeah, and the other one's Black, I think his name is, Joe's son, he was a selectman, what's his name? Scott Pitter, yeah, what's his first name?
Scott,
Scott Pitter, yeah, he was a selectman, he had mentioned a lot of stuff about, and that's why when I said to you, that there were people coming out saying, hey, wait a minute. What's going on?
well, I mean, I guess, I don't know, as a committee member here, we talked about giving them a chance. First year, just kind of worked our way through, then we gave them, right, and then maybe we don't give them all the hours for a year, and then each year we can reevaluate and add it.
yeah,
I mean,
everything.
The problem, I think, once you give somebody something, it's much harder to get it back than it is to give it.
It is, I mean, they've been told, they've just been told, and he understood. Jeff, myself, and Jim sat down, and he does understand, this is review, this is a new thing, but because I came in at the beginning of a lot of pickleball discussions, and we heard from a lot of groups, and I know Dan and I think collectively we were all on the same page, but I think Dan and I were very much aligned with, we'd heard from groups from out of town and that wanted to manage it for us, and that made no sense, an out of town group doing it. This was the best thing we heard. We agreed to it. There's gonna be people that are unhappy, but where everybody knows we're gonna revisit this.
Right.
My personal opinion is this is what we have. We're gonna try it. We'll look at it in June. We'll look at it at the end of the season. We can always readjust it for next year if it's a bad, but it appears where pickleball is so popular now, it does need some kind of something in place, a mechanism in place, kind of controlling it a little bit, at least until we get a better understanding of what exactly is going on there. So I'm happy with the decision that we all made, and them having the hours. There's gonna be people that are unhappy, but this is a great place to let us know if you're unhappy.
No, I agree with that, and we will address it, but it sounds to me, or they implied to us that I'm not a member, but if I go down, I'm a young guy working, and I wanna go down between the hours of 4 and 7 or after work. They would probably welcome newcomers and see how it goes. Sounds like- I haven't been down there since.
It's very crowded,
Right, and to
very
be,
crowded.
to be honest, I didn't play last year at all, and part of it was because of all that was going on between us, and I said, I just don't want to get in the middle of this. So I didn't play last year at all.
Yeah.
This year I plan to play more. I wouldn't play enough to join their association.
Yeah, moving forward, and I'm just throwing this out as this kind of off topic, but we obviously need more courts. Now, one area that you could expand, but keep them as tennis courts, is the old tennis courts at the old high school, which is middle school. You still use them because the new courts aren't quite ready. They'll be ready it's a weather issue right now. Do the final coat. But maybe this group could approach, because that's a town building,
Mhm.
even though it's school district.
Right. No town owns it now.
Town owns it.
Yeah.
And I'm not suggesting you convert them all to pickleball, but do the portable nets and you could get 8 more courts, because there's 4 tennis courts
On Crane Street, yeah.
on Crane Street, yeah. But I don't know about the houses and stuff, if that's gonna impact.
Jimmy Small brought something up, and he said Scotland Field, the basketball courts.
The only issue you're gonna have, because it's happened in some towns, is that Scotland Field and even Crane Street.
If you're
You
too
have
close to
houses.
the houses.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
You know, that happened down in Falmouth, right? When they put them in where houses had been there long before.
The
I
beat,
mean, the nice thing about where we are now
no
is
houses.
there's no houses, but
Yeah.
There's another town, it's not Falmouth, I can't remember where, so that way, they have to move their pickleball courts.
Because it's,
Falmouth, the one I'm talking about is more downtown by the elementary, there's houses. I
Yeah,
think they just curtailed
I
it.
just.
They curtailed the
Make
time.
a change.
Yeah.
Make sure everyone knows,
Yeah.
because I didn't know, I was in the middle of it, and I'm getting people, you know, there's two people that called me, going, well, I said, no, only doing it in the morning.
Yeah.
No, we're doing it in the morning, I said, in the afternoon, I said, no, I said, we already talked about it, and then I find out it was done, and I just said, tell
well,
us.
our recommendation that we approved from us, our recommendation to town manager's office, we agreed to morning and afternoon session. So that's what we
He
agreed.
took back tonight.
Right, they took it back, and then I basically got back what we had agreed to. And for the, because I at the same, at first, if Jeff was, well, this just isn't worth it for us, my first reaction, well, okay, then let the next group step up. But when he explained it was a two different, and I was like, okay, well, to me, being, you know, a working person, I think it's great that there's a spot being catered to. So if I wanted to go and know I could, you know, play every night, I could go down, you know, if I had
But I
time.
still think you can do that without,
you still have to pay,
Well, here, let me, so, we,
and that's what I
we,
don't agree with.
you have to agree with it, and I'll explain why.
I have to agree with it.
we don't have to- well-
I don't have to agree with it.
Well, so, we met with Jeff, we told him a few things, one of the things I brought up, was what point you brought up the last meeting was, you know, making sure that their bylaws, that their board of directors has to have, you know, members of Bridgewater, but in their bylaws, every member of their board of directors has to be from Bridgewater, so that was good. Jim and I had talked, and like I had spoken to Mike Dunn too, about would somebody, if they just want to come down and play, never play, you know, can we get on, there's a court empty, would they be able to get on? And Jeff was like, yeah, of course, we just don't want that same person showing up 3 days a week, getting on and playing free when they have those courts reserved. But then something that was brought to light just from us talking was, if they're reserving the courts, much like Little League does and football does, for a set time each day, they should pay, but there's the insurance liability.
Yeah.
So if you're not part of the association and they let you use the open court and you get hurt, who's liable? Is it the
Yeah,
association?
but isn't that the same thing as like Sunday afternoon? I take my kid down to the ball field, Hayes Field, and there's no games going on, I go out on my own and it gets hurt.
No, there's no game, no, there's no games.
Oh,
This is the way I look at it, is let's say you got a Little League game on, and Tom's grandson doesn't play Little League, but we let him jump on the field and play with
oh,
us,
I see.
and he
yeah.
gets hurt. So that's something that, because pickleball was not even aware that they needed to carry their own insurance, they thought it was a town.
I was gonna say.
So we brought that up to them, so they're looking, they were going after that, and, so
It's
that's one of the
really-
things they were
Really,
gonna.
oh,
So they have to, you know, we kind of pointed them in the right direction as to where to go with that, so that was a new thing for them, but.
You know, when the weather gets warm and it gets July, no one's gonna be there at 11 o'clock.
Well, I'll tell
No
you
one's gonna be there
Well,
at
that's
10
what I was
o'clock.
gonna say, the
I
public
catch
time.
on.
I've got even better news for you. In July, nobody's gonna be there anyway. Jim,
No, they'll be there early.
Oh,
Oh, we
good,
got something going on.
Jim, what's going on with the pickleball courts in July?
good.
On July 8th, they're gonna be resurfacing, painting them and fixing that
Perfect.
crack, so. The guy, I know Jeff wasn't expressed a concern, he wanted us to push it back. I called the guys that tentatively, we're looking good. As far as the quotes go, we've got on board and secured a date. He says, if you push it back into September, he said, with the temperature, he said, you could be looking at having those courts closed for like 30 days. He said, July 8th, he said, you're probably looking at 2 weeks. So the longer we wait and push it back when the temperatures are colder, the longer they're going to be closed for. And then, there's availability. These guys can do it. If you don't take that date, then they're kind of booked up. So,
Yeah,
Jimmy, who's doing it? What company?
geez.
It's not the
let-
same
give me-
company
give
that
me a
was supposed
couple-
to warranty the last ones.
No, it's
No,
not.
that's,
You know, the people they recommend.
How did the attorney make out trying to pursue them to pay for some of the bad workmanship?
I don't think too good because
It's-
we put
Did he
it, we
try?
put it into the capital to pay, having it fixed, so.
Did he try to get it, money from them?
Yeah, I think they did, or they at least, you know, went out and talked to the company. I don't know how far they got with them, but
I think that
obviously they didn't
company's
get
got
too
some-
far because,
I think when I was talking to Jason Rawlings a while back, I think there's, that company's got, I don't think we're the only ones looking for money from that company. So in the interest, if we wait around waiting for them to, however this works out, it wasn't gonna work out in our favor, you know, it hurt what we've got there, so, Jim got the money from the town to go and just
That's
fix
good.
it and get it done, so.
Good.
Again, preserving something that's new, not letting it get beat up.
I mean, I like, a couple things I learned, I'm out, but the new tennis courts and the track, they got kicked too far into the fall last year, they couldn't do that final coat because you need, I think it's like 5 days of dry and certain temperature.
Yeah.
And also July, a lot of people are on vacation, right around the 4th of July. 4th of July is on a Thursday this year, so that's gonna be the full week after. That's probably the best time to do it, I agree with
It
you,
is,
so.
yeah, you know, it's gonna be hot anyway, and, it just is what it is.
Because the people that are gonna complain about that are the ones that are gonna complain about the cracks, so you can't have it both ways, I
Right.
mean, geez,
Right.
what do I know?
Mark, I agree with Tom. If something changes.
Wait a minute, can I get that on record, you agree with Tom?
I agree with John. He's just in his glory when you said his grandchildren. He's planning ahead. Married first.
Yeah, so yeah, yes, I try, if it's something like this was kind of moving a little quickly, so, and it didn't veer away from what we had approved, so,
But he changed what he knew the last time. That was just 7 to 11.
it was, but we weren't hundred percent official yet. So we're still within, but yeah, yes, I will keep.
But that's what I'm saying. And I haven't really been out and about, but I used to have
Yep.
people ask me
So
all
I'm
the time.
confused, what are they, today, right now, as we said, what, they have morning and night?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, they just lost an hour at night.
For all 6 courts or just 4?
No, they've got
It'll
it
be
all.
dark at that
They've
time
got it all.
anyway. It's not getting.
Good stuff.
Right now, you get a little.
Summertime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes you get a little more.
So it's open for anybody that wants
Things
to.
that, when you say 7, 7's gonna be, the last person's getting out at about 7:30, so if you say 8, they're gonna be there till 8:45, so that's.
Yeah.
Right, but that-
Last year we played in the mornings. There's no way you'd go after like 8 o'clock,
well,
9 o'clock. It was smoking.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Smoking down
So-
there.
it's like, big deal. It leaves it open for the general public.
Yeah, I mean, if people, yeah,
But the hottest down hours of the day,
But the weekends
So-
are all open though.
right?
In that effect, I think that's great. It's
But-
open on weekend.
I don't know.
Play.
My thought is we're
I
still.
think it's setting up a little concession stand.
I mean, we'll take a look at it. Like I said, we'll take a look at it again in June. We'll look at it again at the end of the year.
If it's
and then we'll
95
see.
degrees, I'm not gonna go at 2
No,
o'clock to play.
no,
And
I,
that's the only time to go. And I'm just saying it could be anybody if you
Well,
want
you
to
could
go.
go down when the group's here and they'll fit you in, won't they?
Yeah, if I join the association, I pay them.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe it should have been.
$25 for resident, $50 for out of town, or $100 for out of town, 50 for residents.
I don't know. Jim, do you remember what the rates were for pickleball?
yeah, I think it was 50 for the season for residents and 100 for non-residents.
That's all,
And
overall,
that's a lot higher than.
but that's not, you know, if you're into that, it's cheaper than golf. You know, that's a lot cheaper than golf.
That's true.
Um,
I just can't look at it.
It's cheaper, it's cheaper than bitty basketball, it's cheaper than Little League, it's cheaper than club baseball. I wish my kids would play pickleball. I'd save a fortune.
That's funny.
All right, so
There's
that's,
no age limits like,
Sure.
they can join it?
No,
yeah, there's
I
no,
mean, their bylaws or the-
no, I haven't seen the
And
young
did they,
kids.
these are questions that maybe it's for another time, Mark, but in their bylaws, are we gonna get a copy of their bylaws? Do we have a copy?
they've been more than open, we can ask them.
And do
for it.
they cap the membership? Do we ever say the cap of it?
Do you see anything about that tournament?
He mentioned, I think they were going back to discuss tournament, because I told them, that yes, they could have a tournament. Tournaments are separate from all this.
Yeah.
Tournaments are separate and anybody can approach Park and Rec for a tournament. If you and I want to do a tournament,
Yeah.
we can do it. So that, just because one thing I did express to Jeff, and I don't know if you guys know, I know you do.
Yep.
He, a real good guy to sit down and talk with, you know, a very knowledgeable guy about a lot of things, but very open and stuff too. And one of the things I wanted to express, that I did express to him, and just that people, certain groups sometimes they tend to take an ownership of things, you know, and act like they own it and this and that. And I just kind of wanted to remind them that that's not the way it is, you know, in the weekends, any group can reserve it for a weekend, or, you know, and so things can happen, and he understood all that, and,
So question for you, hypothetically.
Yep.
We decide, well, I'm not on the rec commission, I'm a citizen, I wanna have a tournament, fundraiser for whatever, good cause.
Yep.
We have to come to the rec to get approval to have a pickleball tournament.
Mhm.
I can't do it during the hours that they have blocked out, right? I have to do it around,
no, you have to do it in open hours, you can't do it.
unless I approach them, let's say I wanna go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you can't use
Yeah.
Friday.
No, you could, now in a situation like that, let's say you wanted to do it and say, look, we got this tournament, it's a 3-day tournament.
Right.
I would then recommend, you know, all of us, so ultimately it's Jim's call, but in that scenario, if it was brought to me, you'd be like, well, let's put you in touch with the president of Bridgewater Pickleball.
Yeah, put
And then,
Jeff.
Jeff, look, they've got this organization, they're doing, it's a fundraiser, whatever it is it possible to take one of your days off that? And I think they would probably be reasonable about something like that.
And one other thing, I'm just thinking, then we'll move on, because we could
Yep.
be here all night. If this club, for lack of a better, gets so big, that we gotta talk to them, and they gotta cap it at
Mhm.
500 members.
Yep.
If that day ever comes, and I'm not saying it will, but when that comes, we maybe have to say to them, you have to have somewhere in the bylaws, a percentage has to be Bridgewater, so I don't want Bridgewater residents getting bumped out, you know?
Yeah, no, that's fair. I believe,
Maybe someday it would
Well,
be a total.
I think they're over, Jim, did he say there were like 400 members now?
Well, I think he said that he thought there would be 600 combined with both groups, but the problem is that they have some overlapping members.
Yep,
So I think he said he thought it would be like 450 maybe.
okay. So,
But Dan, why would you just curious, why would we think of capping it? Do you know what would be a argument for that?
Well, because if they can't fit everybody in those hours, are they gonna monopolize and want it all day? I don't know. I mean,
I think.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And that makes complete sense. I think,
maybe that doesn't happen. I don't know.
I don't think everybody's down there,
Every
the
day.
whole group, every day,
Yeah, right.
especially the after work group. But I like the point about if that ever the day came that we did cap it, that they have to have X amount
I
percentage.
guess maybe another way to look at this, I would not wanna have a Bridgewater resident be denied because they
Absolutely.
feel like they had to cap it. I think-
What's happened is, you got East Bridgewater just got done building a set of courts, and West Bridgewater's building courts. It's just gonna taper, things are gonna move, and what happens is, it really runs itself. Because you have a board, you put your name on the board.
Yeah,
Well, the longer you wait, the more you're gonna go, you know what, I'm not gonna stay down here.
Right,
I'll
go
go
find the other
someplace,
courts.
yeah, I'm
it'll-
not gonna do it.
It'll balance.
Just
itself.
like- I mean, I think we were the new kid in town for a while, and other towns are building them, and
Yep, absolutely.
You know what I think is ironic? talking
Nobody
about-
ever goes there anymore. It's too busy.
Talking about auditoriums, when they first came to us, they said it, and I remember Tina telling me separately, and probably, who was the guy, Bruce, before this
Bruce,
chat.
Yeah, Bruce,
Yeah,
Bruce
Bruce.
was down there, Bruce was.
I remember them saying
Not Bruce Langland, but Bruce.
that in a meeting, plus talking to Tina on the side, was they wanted to charge because all the out-of-towners were coming to Bridgewater, and they wanted to make it for Bridgewater people only. That's why I voted for it in the first place, because I wanted to see it for Bridgewater people. Bridgewater paid to build it. And then I commented to Tina one day, and we were talking about the courts, and she said, oh, I just can't wait. She said, I have so many friends playing from out of town, they can't wait to pay their membership. And I said, I thought we were doing it to keep you know, keep it
I
for
agree with you.
Bridgewater.
I agree with you.
No, and I think that's something, that's a question I'll bring up, when we look at things in June, just so we have an idea. Because if we are 3/4 out of town, 1/4 in town, then we look at some things and make, some
I
potential
mean, I think it's
adjustments.
good that the way we're doing it, the first year we kind of let them trial and error, then they came and made a proposal, we're trying that.
Yeah.
Again, I think each year we just have to reevaluate, because I think sometimes they come in, not them, just groups in general. They play nice and then
Yep.
they go do what they want, and then
Yeah.
those guys on, if you're on a rig, they're not going on whatever.
Girls'
Oh, Thomas, they're not going down, you know what I mean? I've seen it.
Don't take me down your hole.
Hey, Mark, are you gonna get a list of the residents and the non-residents? Are they gonna give you a list or not?
Hey,
Yeah, we can ask him, I'll ask him in June, and, I'm sure,
I go
I feel
along with
comfortable
you.
that he'd provide that to us, Mike.
Okay.
He seems pretty nice, and, Tom vouches for him, so,
Nice.
you know, it's, if it doesn't work, we blame it on Tom. He's pretty,
Who's he vouching for?
Jeff, the,
Oh,
No, 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 no,
president.
no.
No, he,
we were on his boat.
I didn't throw that out there, I was trying to keep it,
wow.
that should be some kind of conflict, he's the president, they get the association, you run his boat.
I guess I would, if I was a
Alright.
violate open meeting laws, if I was there.
All right, let's put pickleball away till next
Yeah,
month.
that's great.
All right, so just some new business, Jim, I know we touched on it last meeting, and if there's nothing significant, we can move on, but, playground update with the equipment?
Yeah, we're doing good. We're attempting to put up that climbing wall. We hit a few snags, but we're getting there. Yeah, we should have everything up
Awesome.
momentarily. Everything's pretty much in. We just gotta find the time to
Now, which playground
get
is
it
this?
all up.
Over in, Marathon Park, when we had to
Okay.
replace some stuff after the
Yeah,
safety
yeah, okay,
inspection.
that's what I thought, yeah.
Jim had ordered stuff, it came in, and as it's come in, he's reinstalling stuff, so
Great.
haven't really missed a beat down there, which I don't think,
No, have we taken over full ownership of that?
yeah, 'cause there's no more, maintenance money left in the
Okay.
account, so it's all
Yeah,
Jim.
they got, yeah, okay.
I think Jim, hey, Jim, haven't you been, putting money aside or putting in your budget for next year for Marathon Park? So we have a nest egg.
Yeah, for playground maintenance, just
Good.
like basically wear and tear, and then wood chips. Those wood chips, they're engineered wood chips. I don't know what the heck that means, but I know it means they're more expensive. But besides that, I don't know the difference between that and regular wood chips. But that's what you have to use as code, and I don't know. But yeah, so we'll be putting those in momentarily too. I mean, yeah.
We get the swings in too, are they in for Cottage Street? On the
Yep.
playground there?
Yep.
Okay, alright,
Well, those
Yep,
are always-
those are in.
At one time, it was a little swing set, wasn't there?
it's Scotland, but there was I'd like to try to get something up there
Yeah.
at some point.
So, yeah,
Yeah, we had to,
We had a whole playground. Remember, it was behind the backstop.
Yeah, it's in a fenced in area, it's,
Yeah, it was for the kids.
yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Henny,
I don't know.
well, it just fell into disrepair, because Scotland just fell into disrepair in some aspects, and, but that's something I've been telling Jim is something we can get on one of the capital plans to try
I
to,
think next year.
I tried CPC, but they turned me down.
we need to look at two,
you're busy buying a.
yeah,
Yeah.
Jenny Leonard Park. What we want her to do with that on Cherry Street.
Up on Cherry Street. Does that still have structure standing? Old
No,
structures?
they're contractors. Dubro. It was Latola, and he sold it to whoever. They had their agreement with the planning board was that they would donate a piece of land for parking. Because if you've ever seen it, to park on Cherry Street, you have to go up those stairs that you can't even see the stairs anymore. So they had to donate a piece of land for parking,
Mm-hmm.
which I can never find it. I ride through that development to find it. But anyways, that, and they had to clear the property. So they cleared all the structures.
Mm-hmm.
And there used to be paths up there that are just grown over. So we have to decide what.
Yeah, let's, I'll put down the list, that's something I can attack and see what we can come up with, because,
Is that part of Kitty's group, were they looking at that to do anything? No?
No. that was started at one point with,
I always thought it was a neighborhood thing.
yeah, what was, oh,
Just like Cannon,
Yeah,
If it's
maybe.
town and that was part of the deal, then
May,
start-
May Gannon.
you said that was part of the planning board, the agreement when they went in?
They way back.
and they
it's just
cleared all the,
Cannon did
they
it.
cleared all the structures, these developers.
Were they gonna put new structures in, or would that have been on us?
That's us.
But still, if they cleared it and they're providing spot for parking,
Because there is old equipment there, there was an old pavilion, that two, I think, pavilions. I
We-
walked in a couple of years ago, it was really,
you got a couple developments up there, newer developments, might as well have something for the people to use, you know, so.
So true.
Alright, I'm on it. Okay, this playground update. Jim, any news from the golf course?
No, I haven't heard from those guys. I haven't heard anything from them, so.
can we, I know we've talked about it, probably every meeting I ask,
Numbers?
to have one of the Indigo representatives was supposed to come to our meeting. Like the first, when they took it over, the first few meetings, I think we saw him for one. Then they may have come to one other one that we asked,
Did-
but aren't they supposed to be doing so much capital upkeep every year? I'd like to have them come to a meeting and tell us what they do.
Well, we talked about, we tried to maybe get them quarterly if we could.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Anthony should be coming at least quarterly and report.
Yeah,
Hey, Jimmy,
But they
do
don't
I
work for
understand this correctly? They don't even come here that often, like the management team. Did you hear the same thing?
I don't think they come at all. I mean,
I'm hearing the same thing. They don't come. They
I don't
stay
think
in Finland. They don't come
I
up
don't
here.
think the course was situationally was a course that they typically would, red flag and be on top of and have frequent, visits and stuff.
Right,
It
right.
just, it was extremely profitable. It was, it was well run. The course, the turf was in good shape. I don't think they waste any resources coming to a place that they don't have any concerns with. I mean, they
Yeah,
don't,
there's no major upgrades.
They're not
for
worried
them when
about
they took over. It's pretty
Right,
much
but-
self-sufficient.
Jimmy wasn't there.
yeah, they just,
They were supposed to do so much, like capital upkeep every year.
What is this contract come up?
And whatever
yeah,
it
there's
is.
there's an amount that they're supposed to do every year. I don't know what they're doing. I know I had talked to Tom Rio. He said they were looking at redoing the net and the poles on the driving range, just because those things are, if you've driven by, the net's on the ground and a lot of those metal poles are bent. So I don't know. I haven't talked to them on where they are with that, whether they're going to do that or not. But
So
I know it was pretty expensive what they were looking at doing. So
That's
I
why
don't,
heard from a pretty good reliable source that they're not really putting their time in there either. The parking lot is in horrific
The
condition,
parking lot's like,
horrible.
Yeah.
I would imagine so with all this rain too, in the last 2 years, I would
It's all
imagine.
plotted out.
I think they're trying to get
The town budget.
I think they're trying to get that. I think Mike Dutton was working with Paul from the highway and maybe Mike Barrett and just trying to work out something where, they're gonna resurface it. I just don't know. I think it's a matter of trying to see who's gonna be on the hook for paying for it is my guess, but that's just coming from Paul DeCosta from the highway.
I'll try to get a
But
copy.
it sounds like they are gonna they're gonna pave that thing. I don't know.
Just so, because so that's one thing, and I don't want to bring this up because this is now as long as discussion, but I'll try to get a copy of the agreement, read through everything, so I know exactly what was, and then, because that's one thing, and it's massive. If you read through what Park and Recs, what we're, in the, it's not new anymore, the charter, but one of our responsibilities. Essentially, and granted, we're just power of recommendation, that's it, we have no control. But, we're supposed to be consulted on absolutely everything involving the golf course. And clearly that doesn't happen, so,
these guys,
And we never ever got any of the calculations on the money
the money, that's,
that was
I guess,
previous to this company taking it over. And now since they taken over, how much should we get before and how much should we get now? We never got that. We
I
asked for a
guess-
meeting 1,000 times and never got anything.
I've asked in this meeting for it. I've asked the town manager and just talking to him about everything and anything for comparisons, how much we made before when the town controlled it, how much we make now. And every time I've talked to the town manager, he tells me it's a simple report.
Well,
Have you
there's,
seen it, Danny?
there's supposed to be stuff online. That's something that I want, and I told you at one of the meetings that I would look into, and I do want to look into it. I have been busy with some stuff at Legion Field, but I do want to find out, what the numbers were, so we have, instead of just saying we wonder, then we know.
Yeah.
So let me, it is on my list, and it is something I do want to get.
Or, yes,
I'm not dismissive of, like I told you from day one, I'm not dismissive of you guys' concerns for them whatsoever.
I would,
Is this the start of their
No,
third
you have
year?
a lot to
This
do.
golf season, their third year they've been running?
I think
Or
so.
There's a
second?
lot here.
Cause
I think it's the third.
I thought Charlie, God rest his soul, the last year he ran the league, it was under the auspices of this new company, so then last year
Would be the
he didn't
second
run it,
year.
so this would be the third.
This year,
This is year three.
I think they started the April of 2022.
yeah, so April, yeah, so this is year 3, this is year 3 for them.
Yeah, so they're 22, 23 now, yeah. They're
Okay,
entering their third season, yeah.
Mark, what you were saying about,
Jimmy, is that a 5-year deal?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe it's a 3-year with 2 1-year options.
And who votes on that? Just the town manager?
well, we're supposed to be consulted.
Um,
We'll,
I
All right,
think-
let's move on. Legion Field.
we'll, get there,
No one
that's golf
consults
course.
with us right now on
There.
the golf. They don't.
Yeah. I just want to back up to what Mark said. If you look at the charter,
Yep.
and these guys are probably sick of hearing me say this, and my.
I don't think I've ever heard you say this. I'm really looking forward to it.
The
I never heard
charter
any of you guys talk about this.
charter says that the commission advises the town manager through the superintendent. That hasn't happened in years.
Yeah.
It's the town manager tells the commission via the superintendent or the chairperson.
Well, like we were consulted when they decided to put it out to a management company.
No, we weren't consulted on that either.
No one was.
And that's what I was thinking, just based on, what our,
And if you look at,
That's water over the dam, like, oh, there's no dam anymore, water under the bridge.
if you look at the charter,
Yeah.
we oversee the golf commission, which still exists, but nobody,
if you look at the charter, we oversee the cemeteries.
we do.
Oh, I know.
But, I don't know, it's Park and Recs, but that's all
That's
right.
why I don't look at the channel.
All right, we'll visit that again another day. All
All
right.
right, what's going on in Legion Field?
Just Legion Field and scoreboard stuff, everything's kind of rolled into one. Club baseball has started, Little League cleanup day was last weekend. Things are, in the last 2 years, I would say, between the money that Jim's allocated from the town and work Jim's put in down there and what Little League has done into the fields, it's making a difference, and it's really starting to show
Yeah.
down there, and it's looking better. Everybody's like-minded, and I play a small role in it. I just try to keep the communication going between Jim, the town, Little League, keep things, rolling, and it's really starting to look good down there. Things are starting, it's not like it's still, we got a long ways to go, but it's getting the attention that it needs as far as the work, groups raising money. There's some things I'll talk about another day and after the meeting with you guys, but I think we're heading in the right direction down there, and nothing ever moves fast enough for me, and I'm an impatient person as it is. Jim certainly knows this now, that I'm impatient, but
I think those
we're getting
years ago, it was really great field, it got whatever happened.
Yeah.
Budgets and all that, and things changed, now we're on an upswing, and you guys are doing a great job.
No.
I go by, I stay out of it, I listen.
No,
See, but there's a
the
lot of good
fencing, as Danny said, we went through that fields, there were we replaced all the fencing, now it's just time.
Yeah.
It's just time, and the town stops giving you money, now they're back giving us
Well,
money.
that's the thing. I mean, it's a fight. It's a
Yeah.
fight, but
But you gotta have.
but certain things are paying off. The scoring sheds down there behind the seniors field and Lazaro, they're beat up. Little League, worked a deal with Chapin Sheds, got a great deal on one, so Little League's paying for a new one to go in. And
Good,
then and then on Lazaro, and then on seniors field, we have a longtime member of Bridgewater Little League, and her son is doing it for his Eagle Scout project. So by the end of this, that'll be redone.
oh, which one is it, the one over to the left?
Seniors
Look
is
at
closest to
over to
the
the
Williams
left-hand
School.
side.
Yep.
That little shed that Glenn puts his stuff in?
But no, that one there, that's no more, basically. Jim has been putting some work into that. I think we moved Glenn's stuff. We moved Glenn's stuff out of that shed, right, Jim? Or are we in the process of doing it?
Sleeping.
Yeah.
You know, while you're waiting for.
But, yeah. Yeah, but yes, moving it out.
A ton, just like a pitching machine, so we got it tucked in the corner, and
Yeah, the rest is all your stuff
most of
down
the stuff
there,
we
right?
just tossed out because it's junk.
Which garage? is
Yeah.
that? By
The
the
old
big
one.
field?
Yeah, yeah,
Right up
behind the big
against the
field.
fence?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yep.
Right by Mooney's house.
Yeah.
Yeah, by Moon's, yeah, okay.
so Jim's got a plan there to clean up around there too, so it's gonna, the shed's gonna start looking better. The growth around there is gonna be pushed
Some
back.
of those storage sheds, I
You
don't
can
know.
use it now.
Yeah, well, and there's some leaks, so Jim's, got one of his guys working on, making it weather tight and getting to look better against itself too. so.
Fertilizer and stuff in
Yeah.
there. I think that's what we used to, way back, we used to put fertilizer in there. But then I heard, Glenn moves stuff in. Hey, are we set with the money end? What we're charging everyone? Have we had
Yes.
any issues?
Yep, nope, so far, as far as with our league fees, I had a long conversation with Glenn. He listened, but, he paid some money up front, and he's going to get billed, we'll send him a bill for everything the remaining on their schedule.
Yeah.
They've learned now, because there's another group that is playing club games there, and the Giants, I guess, they approached Allison and said they needed a date, and Allison's doing a good job of coordinating the schedule down there. And the coach from the Giants was upset, because I thought the Giants had first dibs and everybody else, but when we agreed it was the first ones to pay, get the field. So, that's how it is, and this year's gonna be a learning year, and, we're gonna see, the town's gonna see that, well, Jim's gonna see in his budget, more money coming out of it.
Good.
And it's, like I say, it's gonna be a series of, it was already, it was like a half-hour conversation with Glenn and on the phone and back and forth, and he just kind of recycled how they always have done things, and I was kind of like, well, we're not gonna do it that way anymore, and back and forth a little bit, and then he, in fact, I was my son was over there for one of his weekly clinics, and he actually cut me a check to bring the park and rec, so we physically got some money, and so it's a step in the right direction, so we'll keep it, and with the organization that he's partnered with, or bought out by, whatever, Nakona, they have a money guy there that handles all the money, so the billing won't go just to Glenn, it'll go to that organization as well too.
It was bought out, right? Is it camp?
Well, I don't know about the camp, that's another thing we'll have to discuss, I'm gonna bring that up next meeting, something that we'll have to discuss that, because that's separate from his,
Separate
from the Giants.
Yeah.
But my point being, going to Nakona, we're more apt to see the money faster, going
Okay.
through the finance guy, than just waiting on Glenn to give us what he thinks he should give us.
Yeah.
Because these are hard numbers now. He's got a schedule. These are hard numbers. We've got the numbers. That's what you all, and these are the things that Jim, we can see going right back into the field. This club money, this goes right back.
No, I
into
can understand the first year when we start holding people accountable,
Yeah.
like their budget, when they charge their fees could be, but now it's in place, so
Yeah.
every year afterwards, we know,
Yep.
they know when they start sending out their.
Yep.
No, yeah, absolutely.
So
Everyone should know that.
the-
When I come to sign up for the team, they should know what their costs are.
Right. They can allocate it and whatnot.
You know,
Another big thing down there that's moved kind of quickly is scoreboards. So Mike Rocha met with us from the league a couple months ago.
Yep.
He was looking into sponsors, and So we kind of hit a small dead end, and then in a matter of a week and a half, we landed sponsors for 3 scoreboards. So, and that's like 10 grand each, so that was,
Nice,
we've got Oliari is going to sponsor one in the Dome,
nice,
Barrett's going to sponsor one,
nice.
and, Fast Signs, that's providing the scoreboards, and the company that makes them are gonna split one and put it,
I can't hear you.
and put it into, make it happen for the league, so, we're,
You know, I'm not.
no, you didn't get you, oh, you can back. But yeah, so that was big, so, Mike, when you get home, Mike, you still with us?
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna talk to Graziano about, donating the concrete we need for those. I'm gonna try to get, and reach out to, who's our steel, is it Ashmont? Is that the people that's been friendly in the past, years ago to the town?
Yeah, Ashmont Steel.
Yep.
Stefano D'Amelia might be able to talk to them a little.
Nice and long.
WELCH.
Alright, and that's Ashmont, I know where they are.
Yeah, they're down.
Great guy.
So I'm gonna reach out to them and see what they're willing to do for us, see if they won't donate it, they can cut us a deal. I told the league that we would kinda, try to make that I would push for that, see what kind of donations we can get on our end and have the town, work on, if we do have to come up with some money there to buy the steel or whatever, do that on their end, with the league got the donations.
Maybe you get a good price through Jimmy, Ashmont. on the
Yeah,
steel.
so get that, so if they donate the concrete, and
We
I can
can-
talk to Stefano too, but get somebody, if we can get some holes dug.
Well, we can use one of my vacuum trucks to dig the holes.
Awesome. We're going to, on Hayes and Lazaro, we're gonna change the positioning of the scoreboards. I think I mentioned you guys on Hayes
Yeah.
before, we're going to right field. On Lazaro, it's kind of right in the middle of where people walk to go to the
Right.
snack shack. So we thought maybe moving it, I spoke with Jim, and then I talked to the league the other day, moving it to center field.
Good.
And it's a better view if it's in center field, and it's out of the way of all foot traffic.
You just gotta make sure that a truck can get out there to put cement in and also dig the holes.
Yes, yeah, we should have access, both ways, because.
Okay,
Yeah, we can go on the left-hand side of the, of Jim's building, and go right to center field, and then it's right on the access road in right field for Hayes, so that'll work out well, and it can stay where it is at the Williams School in
And
left
we
field.
talked about Hayes isn't gonna impact emergency vehicles getting in.
Yep,
there.
nothing, nope,
But, electricity just running a little further.
it's
up there?
right next to the pole, it's closer,
is it? Yeah.
it's less of a run,
Oh, wow.
it's less of a run for Hayes. Lazaro, it's a little
We're
bit,
moving like 5 to 10 feet.
from where it is now?
Yeah.
No, now it's like down the first baseline, first
It's
baseline.
almost
Oh,
by
that's
first
right.
base, it's
Yeah.
right by,
That's
right by the
right.
bleachers there, right, so.
Wasn't the old school board that kids used to put it on
Oh,
manually?
dead center
Dead
field.
center field, that's
Was
what it used to be.
Used to have one
Okay,
kind of
how's
like
that?
the Red Sox,
History
and
of,
then the little kid, you got the box with the numbers and everything in, and you put up,
Yeah. it
these
was
in the
wild.
scores.
You can't do that now unless you have a kid hold up their tablet, they're not gonna change any numbers. So that's, it's, at Little League, we're ecstatic, because we found, we got it to happen, so it was
It's great.
great, and it was a group effort from Little League, we had a lot of people working on it, so,
who's the person to contact from Little League that knows all about the scoreboards?
They're using me as the point person, they're providing me with all the specs. They switched scoreboard companies, I had the specs on the first one, so I'm waiting for the specs for the new one, so I know exactly what grade steel we need. We're still gonna, all it requires is standard 4-foot footings with the steel down the 4 feet. So we'll just get it, where we have to have it, and then we can,
Is it an I-beam that supports,
yes, yep, that's what they're looking for, is,
Get home and we'll answer these questions, we're not gonna do this over Zoom.
But we can, I'm more than willing to help with the installation or whatever we have to do, Mike. And I can get volunteers, they might just be labor, but I can get volunteers anyway, but I'm pretty sure I can talk Stefano to give us a hand as well.
Yeah.
So we can.
I talked
we
to
can make it
Stefano
happen.
about that a while ago, and he and I could do that.
You know, resurface.
The batting cages, because we shift the focus to dugouts and
Yeah.
then the stairs.
It's on hold.
So, Little League purchased new nets for the batting cage, but they purchased them bigger in preparation if we have to, if we concrete that, we get that done, and they put in a new cage. they kept an eye to the future, so.
Do they take them down once the season's
Yeah,
over?
yep,
Yeah,
yep.
They don't leave them up.
No, it's just, we got new ones coming in this year, because the ones that we've been taking up and down, they're old and they, you know, it's been a while,
If
so.
you say you put concrete where they hit,
We would like to,
really?
well, concrete and then put turf over it.
Turf is the
Yeah.
one.
Okay, so that
Yeah.
soft-
Yeah, instead of just a stone dust under it, because it, you know, over time it
Yep.
fades and stuff. And this way we get the concrete in there with the turf over it. That's, you know, that's something they'll replace in, you know, 30 or 40 years maybe. So it's something that's a real long-term,
No, that's
long-term
good.
solution. So
That's good.
that's one of the things where, which, other than maintaining it, anything we do down there, get as long-term out of it as we possibly can. You know, no more quick fixes unless it's an emergency situation. You know, let's
No, no, it's
put the
exciting.
proper time and effort in. But
And the irrigation is good. You need irrigation, the big field.
that's what, remember Jim, at the previous
Yeah,
meeting,
yeah.
you found a really good price for the irrigation for the big field, and that's really gonna help out where that takes.
You don't need it right now.
No, we're pretty fortunate right now, but, I didn't, John Hart's not here, I did not reach out to John Hart in time,
Okay.
we kind of, this kind of got pushed the meeting, so I apologize for the short notice on the meeting. I wanted to have it in person, because I think everybody felt the same way.
I thought it was an April Fool's joke when you sent that out.
I wanted to wait till the 8th, but this room wasn't available, and I didn't wanna go another week.
I'm not here either. On the 8th, that's good.
So it worked out well. So this, from now on, this is where we're gonna, have this, but for next month, I'll have John come give us another update with what's going on. Kickback real quick before we open up,
Yeah, gotta
closing.
do the minutes.
Yeah,
Just for Styles and Hart.
Yep.
The town had a bid out for the trails.
Yep.
For improvements. It was opened a week and a half ago or so. Bids went between 800,000 and a couple million. And I think the town was looking to, contract with the 800,000 one. So that hopefully gets started soon.
yeah, because he had a couple of, I know,
Oh, the 800 is the same scope of work as the $1 million ones, or was it the $1 million more scope?
Supposed to be the same. But we used to see that when I did.
It just seems like a big discrepancy, you really care what you're gonna get, right? Mark, you're a
Yeah.
contractor. but-
yeah, well, that's, yeah, depending on where you go. I mean, like with anything, you've got
How many bids were
top
there?
tier,
Do you know?
low tier, but
Well, I'm thinking
Well, I was like,
2.5 mental
but I'm not
impact.
positive.
Don't you have to
Costs
do
a lot of money.
You're supposed
Yeah.
to.
But if you send
Well,
it out and advertise, if,
Right, no, I didn't know, Mark, like, if you send out a bid and you only get 2, are you supposed to get 3 for a municipality?
yeah,
If you can.
because everything we're doing, everything down at
But
Legion
Tommy,
was
if
supposed
you
to get
don't,
free.
you still go with 2, or do you have to?
Yeah, no, even if one goes.
Oh, okay,
then
I
can
don't,
wait.
I'm just asking.
we have to send
Then
you
they can
at least
negotiate.
3.
That's what
Three
you
bidders.
They go to 3, and sometimes financing depends on it with in different municipalities and different organizations. If you don't get to 3, the financing can't go through.
Oh.
So, and that's, we face that down at Legion too. Jim faces that if he doesn't get 3 bids.
Charlie
They don't.
used to call 3 people,
And then,
that's.
I mean, it's, you know, it's,
under 10,000, right? Isn't that
it's-
what the deal was? Under 10,000.
That I
Yeah,
don't
no,
know.
but this
That's-
one's big numbers.
Yeah.
Big numbers, like
And I'm just saying,
But
800 and a million, or whatever it was, 2 million, that's a big
800,
discrepancy.
that's a good question to raise though. Thanks for bringing that up, Gina, because that's something I can ask Mike too, just to see if it is the same scope. So I mean, because if we are scaling back on it, obviously we want to know about it. If we're scaling back on anything, but we'll find out about that. We had a motion on the floor to approve the meeting minutes from last meeting. Do we have a second?
I'll second
Dan,
Okay.
Tom had the motion, Dan second.
Yep.
All in favor?
So,
Oh,
just
discussion,
discussion.
discussion.
on page 4, the bottom, Glenn told Mark he would pay as he had in the past. Is that right? Or should it be that he wouldn't pay the same as he had in the past?
No, he said he would pay as he had in the past, but his memory's a little different than what reality was on that.
Okay, I actually read it backwards, and Glenn told Mark that he said.
No, no, because he had said what he usually does, is gives a couple grand and then talks to Jim and pays the rest later, but, that isn't entirely accurate.
Yep,
But
and
no.
I read it wrong.
And then what the rest is, what it used to be was what he based, and it's okay, it's the way it worked for a long time. I'm not faulting him, it's just the way he did things for a long time, things are just different now. He'll pay the 2,000 up front, and then he's gonna be billed for what the rest of the schedule is. And that's just what it is now, you know, and-
That-
And the 2,000 was just a down payment to
Yep.
get it going.
yeah, which is good, which is good, because it was something better, you know, it wasn't, we weren't chasing it, we got it, you know,
It's very reasonable
I
in today's market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
oh,
good.
yeah. Jim, real quick, did they provide, you know if they provided Allison with, insurance yet, proof of insurance, the Giants?
Yeah, the Giants we have, Little League,
Okay.
obviously we have.
Yep.
I did send out a text to Jeff for pickleball last Thursday, the 21st of March there, just to see if he got insurance yet. Security he said he had just got back from vacation, so they're gonna attempt to get it, I guess, in the next week here, but we probably have to stay on those guys.
Okay, all right, Gina, cut that back, that was your discussion on the
Yeah,
minutes?
I apologize.
Nope,
I read
that's
it-
okay.
I read it
That's all right.
backwards.
All in favor of approving the minutes?
I,
Right?
Opposed? Minutes passed.
will we see minutes from past meetings?
Yeah, she's got them all almost done.
Okay, good.
Are we gonna ask her to come to the meetings?
We can have her, I could probably have her tune in to one of the
Yeah.
meetings, so you guys can, you don't know where you can
Well,
be.
you understood.
I think they shot that down. I think they shot that down because she did it one time and then Uptown found out that she spent like, 2-3 hours at a meeting and then another 2-3 hours on
So that cuts in
doing
there.
the minutes and all that. And
Yeah.
she said, no, forget it.
Who said no?
Probably the town, because it's.
HR department told me that, they didn't want her coming to any meetings or doing any, being involved with the meetings. Live meetings,
There's always
Zoom
doing something once
meetings,
in a
or any account.
This or whatever this is.
So why can't, I mean, I don't, let's say she came in and it was 2 hours, why can't she just
Yeah, just
Like
take it
the
off 2
contact
hours.
2 hours off Friday or something?
You know what they do to Jimmy?
Well, he does not.
If that wasn't staff down there, if there was 2 hours.
No, Jimmy, yeah, let's try it. She could just come in, just to be, take the notes and for our meetings.
And get, knowing what we're doing.
What's
But-
that?
But how does it work, like for CPC, Josh McGraw, I was
Yeah.
gonna say Josh Getz, Josh McGraw, he does the meetings, he does many meetings.
Yeah,
with
that's,
the
well,
CPC.
that's the scope of his,
That's
Right,
that's
but
what
if
his
he
job.
doesn't take off, like,
No, but
if it's
he's,
a 3-hour CPC meeting, he doesn't leave 3 hours early from work.
Are you sure? I don't know.
but he may have, maybe
I
he's
don't know.
getting paid above and beyond for that,
That's
where
Yeah, it could be
her
both.
scope is X amount of hours per week,
Yeah,
and they're saying do that during the week, the weekdays.
yeah, I understand what you're saying, I just don't.
No, just for an hour.
Do you guys have,
But
anybody?
what I don't understand is, well, I know she's self, but if she was here, like Brooke used to do and take the notes, it's a lot quicker to transcribe those notes. So now she's gotta now watch the tape anyways, and she could be sitting there, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
For
all,
like a couple hours, you know, but
It's
before.
a little more efficient the other way.
Set up,
Yeah,
she's
I
here,
agree, Mike.
And then she probably did, this is a lot better now.
Right.
We're just doing it, you know, we're more
Right.
focused in.
but she's not always getting the true context of what you had to say,
Right.
Mr. Riggi.
But when you're.
But she doesn't know us.
This could be our.
What, Mike?
She doesn't get to know us. We're a group altogether.
That's probably why they told her not to come. They don't want-
I invited her to Florida to meet me.
Yeah.
You didn't invite me to Florida, Mike.
I already know you.
No, you'd get to know Gina better if she came down there.
Does anybody have anything else they want to discuss meeting wise before I stop the meeting?
No, we're good. Motion to adjourn.
Second,
All right, hold on, that's Dan.
See,
Anything you want to discuss during this?
Discussion,
Motion to
Gina?
adjourn,
The
Gina?
motion
Do
to,
you? No?
you know I always answer. I don't.
all in favor, adjournment?
Hi.
I-
All right, 8:19, meeting is adjourned. Stand by.
You're making these meetings go a lot faster, Mark. Good job.
Well,
Well, he just mutes you.
hold on 1 second.
Who are the 3 people? I'm sure it's 3 people of Connor.
Hold on.
Uh-oh. Mike and Jimmy.